Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started.
Seems like we're going out of the way to put more people at risk rather than a more direct way which would have fewer people at risk.
That is Spokan City Council member Zach Sapone, who spoke with KREM 2 News yesterday about the council's concerns about moving toxic waste through Spokane from the Hanford nuclear site. Tonight, the City Council voted on if they'll send a letter to state and federal leaders about those concerns and other potential solutions. KREM 2's Cody Proctor gives us a recap of tonight's meeting. Cody?
Well, right beside me is the letter from the Spokan City Council about those concerns. This letter will then be sent to Governor Jay Inslee, the Deputy Secretary of the Department of Energy, an EPA Administrator, and Representative Kathy McMorris Rogers. But a new line in the amended version did spark some unhappiness from a council member.
Strong words from the podium.
And the last thing we want in Spokane is nuclear waste.
To the council desk.
One spill, would cause serious problems for generations.
After plans came to light about moving nuclear waste from the Hanford site by the Tri-Cities through Spokane on their way to disposal sites in both Utah and Texas. Councilmember Zach Sapone sponsored the letter.
And we should be exploring all possible options to make sure that we mitigate all risks for our community.
One suggested option would be to turn the chemicals into a solid form before it goes through Spokane, which Sapone believes would be safer. Councilmember Jonathan Bingle agreed with that request.
I think that makes a ton of sense. Protecting our people from all that, love it. And then this gets slid in there.
This being this line, saying City Council would support using unionized labor for that plan.
I don't think we need to be necessarily endorsing unionized labor on this. I think whoever can do the job and get it done before it goes through the city of Spokane, contract with them. I couldn't care less if they're unionized or not.
The letter passed.
Aye.
6-1. Other items the Spokan City Council voted on, including adding another city prosecutor to focus on serious narcotics prosecutions, as well as approving American Rescue Plan funds for 9 multicultural centers. Organizations include Latinos in Spokane and the Salish School of Spokane.
There were also 2 items that were supposed to be on Monday night's agenda. Those were the first readings for an expanded sit-and-lie ordinance and a rental registry ordinance. Those were moved to early next month. In the studio, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
Cody, thank you very much. Also during tonight's meeting, council members approved the Spokane Police Department's request to buy the Mine 90 communication system. The pilot project aims to improve and speed up law enforcement's communication with crime victims. A committee report on Mine 90 states it includes the ability to send text messages to 911 callers based on the type of a call. Once a dispatcher enters the reported information, a message can be sent automatically to the caller. Mine 90 is a 2-year pilot program. Well, it may be officially fall, but the weather certainly doesn't feel like it, at least during the daytime hours. Let's get to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Good talking about kind of a heat up heading our way. Jeremy?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. And in fact, if you take a look at our temperatures right now, kind of wild, 68 degrees. It's still not cold. We went through a few days last week where we were well below that by now. When it comes to that overall pattern, all of this heat right now comes from an overall weather pattern that is a giant ridge over the top of us. That's high pressure in sinking air. Out to our west sits low pressure in an atmospheric trough. That is the change that's going to work its way in by the middle of the week. Notice tomorrow's just all sun and some serious heat. But by the time we start the day on Wednesday, we'll see rain on the west side. We'll see wind and cloud cover return here. But despite that, we stay pretty warm. We'll see a few showers develop later in the day and turn more widespread as we head into the evening, but it does look like we wind up with a more active day. We're going to call it afternoon showers and evening showers. 85 and sunny tomorrow, windy with the chance of those afternoon and evening showers on Wednesday. Because of that big change, it's a weather impact alert day, and then Thursday, we top out in the 60s.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. We'll check back in with you later in the show. A construction alert for you tonight. The northbound off-ramp of US 195 near Cheney-Spokane Road will be closing over the next few nights. Crews will be repaving the off-ramp. WashDOT will shut down the interchange tonight and tomorrow night from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. There will be added detours in place. And now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories happening this week. Brian Kohberger is expected to make his first court appearance in Ada County this Thursday. Kohberger is accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in 2022. Judge James Coffin expects Kohberger to appear at that hearing in person. It'll be a status conference to determine the next steps in the case, like when to reschedule hearings that were in Latah County and to settle on a trial timeline. Coffin says Judge Stephen Hippler, who's now assigned to the case, will determine whether he'll allow people to appear virtually for the case at this week's hearing. 33,000 workers at Boeing are days away from missing their first full paycheck and losing health care benefits, but the company has put forth a new contract offer to try to end the strike. The union will put this latest offer to a new vote. It includes a general wage increase of 30% over 4 years, up from 25% in the last offer, a doubled ratification bonus up to $6,000, and an increase to matches on retirement contributions. The company claims average pay would increase from around $76,000 a year to $111,000. Boeing says the union needs to ratify the offer by Friday night. Many machinists say Boeing's latest offer just isn't good enough, but Boeing leaders are standing behind it.
Best and final, I mean, they were pretty much saying like that for the first tentative agreement that they brought out. They were calling it historic. You know, it's a historical contract, and I think it's just like the last one. The first offer is insanely hysterical.
I'm focused on presenting a really good offer that is based on the feedback from our team and making adjustments to areas that they said are important.
Workers also say they're hoping the company reinstates its pension plan that was scrapped 10 years ago. This offer does not include that, instead focusing on boosting 401k contributions. All systems back online after a significant IT issue threw a wrench into travel plans for Alaska Airlines passengers. More than 300 flights were delayed at SeaTac. This comes just 1 month after the entire airport was hit by a ransomware attack that crippled multiple systems. Well, this is what lines looked like last night. Alaska Airlines says this was not a cyber attack. During the outage, travelers had issues checking in for flights and checking baggage. Alaska alerted travelers at around 8 o'clock, letting them know. The airline issued a temporary ground stop to clear up traffic on airplanes off the ground. That has since been lifted. And that was your night beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just head to our website. That's KREM.com. Well, today's freshman welcome celebration kicked off at Eastern Washington University. The university expects enrollment numbers to be the highest since the pandemic. It was a red sea of students as freshmen walked eagerly onto Roos Field today. According to EWU staff, enrollment numbers are looking up. A main reason, affordability. The university still offers the lowest tuition rates for colleges in Washington state, which helps make post-pandemic college decisions a bit easier.
Tuition did not go up faster than inflation, so tuition went up less than inflation. So Eastern continues to provide an amazing value.
It's really great. This is super affordable, and I feel like we're getting the same, if not better, of an education here than we would anywhere in Washington. It's nice knowing that I'm going to leave here and not be in a hole. So that's super exciting.
The average cost for in-state tuition at Eastern is $8,500 a year. That's nearly $400 cheaper than the second lowest state tuition, which is at Evergreen State College. Today, the Washington State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Chris Rakedell, laid out his proposed 2-year budget. It includes a huge request to tackle what he calls a $4 billion gap. Rakedell highlighted 3 main budget requests: fully funding special education and increases to spending in transportation and maintenance, supplies, and school operating costs. He also outlined an ambitious investment proposal to reduce 25% turnover in classified staff.
I think compensation has a lot to do with that. It's $695 million in the first 2 years. It's $1.6 billion in the following 2 years. That is extremely ambitious, and we should do it.
Rakedell says funding may have to get creative and may include a new income tax if voters go for it. He's also supportive of a change in funding formulas on federal taxes to get Washington's money back into state coffers. In national headlines tonight, federal health officials are warning that a drop in vaccinations in the U.S. may have led to an increase in pediatric flu deaths. The CDC reported nearly 200 children died from the flu last season. Most were eligible for the vaccine but did not receive one. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends everyone 6 months and older get the annual flu vaccine, but the uptake was down last year with just 54% of children vaccinated.
I think, unfortunately, coming out of the COVID pandemic, we have seen a rise in vaccine skepticism, people less willing to get vaccinated. And as we've seen with the pediatric flu vaccines, that has led to increased hospitalizations as well as, unfortunately, some deaths.
The FDA just announced the flu mist nasal spray vaccine will become the first self-administered flu vaccine that can be done at home. The vaccine is not expected to be available for this upcoming flu season, and doctors say the vaccine is not as effective as the traditional flu shot historically. Well, there is now a hefty reward after a mass shooting Saturday night in Birmingham, Alabama, with no suspects under arrest. At least 4 people were killed, 17 injured. 5 of them remain hospitalized, some too hurt to speak with police. Investigators are still combing through surveillance video as they try to unravel what led to the shooting and who is responsible. 24-year-old Gabriel Eslami described what happened after he was shot while waiting in line to enter a hookah lounge on Saturday.
I am beyond blessed because even the doctor told me the bullet was millimeters away from my artery.
Crime Stoppers and the FBI are offering a joint $100,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction of a suspect. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time.